Hello, everybody.
Don't leave, Sally. Don't leave.
Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Hello, everybody. It's Jeff Widgren from the Zoom Test Kitchen. I'd like to welcome you all out and thank you for coming. And we'll see some more show up over time here. I always appreciate that. And things we learn, things we share, questions we have, and so forth. It's been a great community. And so, with that, I say hi to, if I look at my gallery page here, let me take a look there. Here we go. Frank, Ray Franklin, and Frank Hinney as well. Sally, Lois, Joe, Mike, and Jason. So, anyways, good to have you. Is my sound level okay? Okay, good. I was a little bit late. I apologize for that. I don't know what happened, but I lost all audio output. I couldn't hear over the speakers or my headphones or anything. So my apologies for the delay. And we got Marshall here as well. So hello, guys. So anybody here for the first time? I'll say if you're not here for your first time, Marshall, I don't recognize from a previous visit. I may not have been here. Ray Franklin, what do you got?
My first time.
Yeah, sure it is. All right.
You look just like someone who's been coming for months.
That's right. Yeah,
May
I'd
I
say
introduce my
year
friend?
plus. You betcha. Go ahead, Lois.
This is Sally Bryan, and she is, hi, Sally. She is in my exercise class, and we had a problem this morning. We couldn't fix it. I said, here's the information. Come to the Zoom kitchen. They'll be nice to you. They'll listen to you, whatever. She got here. It's fixed. So Sally and I are going to leave and go see if she can get into the other Zoom meeting where she couldn't hear me. She couldn't hear me on the exercise class. She couldn't hear me on my Zoom meeting, but here it's working. Is this a meeting or a webinar?
It's a meeting.
Okay. All right, Sally. So if you want to stay and listen to these guys, feel free. But if you want to take off, I'll go phone you. How's that?
Very good. Thank you, Sally.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'm working today. I just took a break to introduce her, and now we can leave.
All right. Take care, Lois.
See you some other time.
Very good. Who else? Marshall, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Marshall Butler. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida, and produce a lot of events for Rotary International. We do a lot of virtual events, some live events too, conferences and stuff. But we use Zoom to bring in 400 or 500 people to events where we have folks from around the Southeast and the Caribbean.
Very good. Glad to have you here. Any particular challenges you come with or nuggets of information that you think would be cool for the community itself?
Nothing right now. I appreciate the community. It's a great community. I think we're about to start using Zoom ISO to bring in individual feeds to a switcher so that we can up the production value a little bit more. Right now, it's just trying to do a lot of spotlighting, but we're going to try to do a little bit more with graphics and Zoom ISO.
Cool. You'll enjoy it. Yeah. You'll, if you need any help, we certainly can help a little bit with that. We have a good relationship with Andy and his team who developed that. And if you need any contact there, or Jonathan. And so, yeah, he's great product.
I mean, I love how he responds directly to you. I mean, really, really helpful guy.
Yeah, super friendly, very, very helpful. So, yeah, been in touch with him for who knows what, doesn't matter what time of day or night. I don't think he sleeps. And he's done a great service for us, that's for sure. Well, very good. Well, good stuff. Let's open the platform, the community here to anything anybody has as far as questions or new findings that you might want to share or whatnot. Anybody? Jason, Frank, Joe, David? No? All right.
Are we allowed to talk ISO on here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Now that we don't have a dedicated time for OSC and ISO, it's absolutely content that can be talked here.
So I'm using the, I wonder if I could show this to you. Let me see. Bear with me a second. No, that's not it. That's not it either. I'm going to switch my camera. No, it's not going to work now. In any case, so I'm using ISO and I'm using the new OSC plugin or build that they did. And so I set up keys to open breakout rooms and close breakout rooms. Neither of them worked. And I wasn't sure if you have to, can a co-host open breakout rooms? Like, so here's my workflow. So I create the breakout rooms on my main machine. I've got ISO on another machine connected to a Stream Deck, and I make that co-host, so then I can do stuff in the meeting through the Stream Deck. Yeah. Can a co-host open and close breakout rooms? Because my buttons weren't working. I don't know if it's the build or.
Go ahead and try it. You're a co-host.
No, but I can't get into. You can't get into ISO on this meeting. Get ISO.
No. Try it. So my guidance,
I'm sorry.
My guidance would be this: if you can do it in Zoom,
right,
you can expect to be able to do it in OSC. If you can't do it in OSC,
all right, I can do it.
It can't be programmed. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it has to be something with the build then. Okay.
Yeah. So you're getting now. Are you, when you're trying these things, do you have the logging up on your screen from the OSC console so that you can see the feedback that it's receiving?
No, because I would have no idea what to do with that feedback.
It's actually pretty readable.
That would
it really
gobbledygook to me. I feel like.
I think they've done a really good job of making it pretty readable compared to a lot of logs. I have OSC here. Just let us know, David, when you're...
Yeah, so I have the log up, of course, because I'm not in this meeting. It's not showing me anything, but okay, I'll have to look at it next time.
Is that what you're showing us? Because I'm not seeing a log.
No. This is,
okay.
Hold on. I mean, there's nothing to see in the log, so.
Well, the log is helpful live. And so if you were to,
so there's my log, but
meeting.
there's nothing to see there. I can't join the meeting from ISO because you have one of the things that you have turned on requires the latest Zoom client, which ISO isn't compatible with.
But the latest, ISO instead of OSC. Yeah.
Right. I'm using ISO for this, not OSC.
Yeah, OSC can.
I'll just be patient till September when ISO gets updated. But I mean, these are the these are the. So you can see the open breakout room button, and I mean it's a global action basic. So, and it's pre-built. It's one of the presets, so it should just work. But for whatever reason,
so have the breakout rooms been created already?
Yeah. So I had created breakout rooms. I had named them all. They were sitting there waiting to be opened.
Gotcha.
But my other buttons were working, right? So I have the spotlight button and stuff. So it was specific to the breakout rooms that wasn't working.
Yeah.
Before I reach out to Andy and the team, I want to make sure I'm not just an idiot and doing something wrong.
Yeah. Well, when you get a chance to host a meeting and
Yeah.
and have this log up, when you press that open button, you there's a really good potential that you'll get some pretty useful information back
All right.
on why, did it try versus, did it try and then you got feedback that will give you a bit of an idea of why it's
Okay.
not working as
All
well.
right, cool. I'll check the logs.
Now, are
next
you
time.
also
Thank you.
tied into their Discord or
I'm
Slack, actually?
I don't know if I'm on their Slack. I think I am actually.
Yeah, their Slack is great.
Yeah.
A lot of
David, did
smart
you say you
folks.
named the breakout rooms?
Yes, I did.
So that might throw it off too if the name that you typed into Zoom doesn't match the code that you sent. Like for example, if you said breakout room 1 is now going to be alpha, but in your code it's trying to open breakout room 1, that doesn't exist anymore. The naming convention doesn't match up.
Right, but the global action isn't specific to the name of rooms. It's just open breakout rooms. Let me pull that up. Right, so it's just a generic sort of open breakout rooms button. I hear what you're saying, though. I wonder if that's there. There is a button to request breakout list. I wasn't sure what that was, and I wonder if maybe that's what I needed. Maybe that was a step I was missing, right? That I needed to request the list into OSC, then press open the breakout rooms.
Yeah,
Thank
that
you.
I just haven't worked with it enough to be able to provide more answers on that. Okay. Mike is with us today as well. Hello, Mike. How's it going? Very good. Well, I put in the email invite that there's definitely some upcoming release notes that are worth taking a look at. And if you've got them up, I'll let you go ahead and drive those even, David. Appreciate that.
Well, I certainly don't need to drive, but I'm happy to just share them for everyone. I want to get bigger. Embiggen. There we go.
There we go.
So yes,
Yeah,
these are
pretty
coming
good.
up.
Yeah,
What is
coming
today,
up on the
the
22nd, right?
Yeah,
And
22nd.
today's the 19th.
So we got. Let's
So
see here.
Monday. Okay.
I mean, the first thing that jumped out to me. We can walk through all of them, but I'll jump down to this broadcast mic audio to all breakout rooms. I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that's a big ad.
Yeah, but here's so I didn't understand the notes below it. Meeting hosts can broadcast their microphone audio to all breakout rooms in a meeting. Previously, only device audio could be
Yeah.
shared. So I guess that means like if you're playing music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now you can do your mic. You can actually speak into all the rooms, which I imagine could be so intrusive and disruptive, but also perhaps helpful.
Yeah, I don't know if we tested it a few times, and I don't have the memory that said we actually moved audio, even if it was from the system, playing music or whatnot. So I don't think it was coming from the share as far as system audio. Maybe possibly if we would have tested maybe Windows Alert or email. I don't know.
Do you want to try? Do you want to throw me into a room and play some audio and see if?
Yeah, we can open up a few breakout rooms. We've got we've got 1 through 5 there already. So they're actually open even. So let why don't we just use, if ever, how many do we have here that are online and can interact? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 of us. I won't move, but so we have 6. So why don't we do 3 breakout rooms, 2 people per breakout room? So room 1, 2, and 3. Ray and Frank, why don't you go to 1? Joe and Marshall go to 2, and Mike and Jason go to 3, and then I'll get ready to share something.
Did you send me to 3? Sorry, I didn't hear you. I don't think you did.
I don't know if
You
I
said
called
Jason,
you
I
out
think.
on one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I did call you because your video. I was looking at large videos, and yours is in the bottom right corner. So yeah, I just pick one of those rooms,
Okay.
David. Any luck moving, guys? Mike, Marshall, Jason, Joe.
Not seeing an option to move.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to.
Really? Well, let me close these. I didn't open these, so maybe the option wasn't set. Let me close them and I'll reconfig. Now I get to wait that 25 seconds because that's apparently the way they were configured. So, okay. David got there because he was co-host, and Ray, yeah, the 2 co-hosts, they were able to override that. Sorry about that. Okay, 5 seconds. We'll get these reconfigured. Okay, here we go. So the options: allow participants to choose. Allow participants.
I heard
to
nothing.
back. No, I didn't play anything. They were open and the option to allow participants to choose. You 2 were the only ones who could go because you're co-host. The other guys couldn't pick a room. So let me do a countdown there. Make that shorter. Recreate. Okay.
You need a PA over there, Jeff.
A what?
You need a production assistant to help you with this stuff.
Yeah, I know. Okay, here we go. I'll open those up.
All right, it's asking me to join room 1.
Okay, bringing them back to the main room.
We'll catch up at another time.
I pulled you in and
Yep.
interrupted any conversation, didn't I?
We didn't get to finish talking about you, Jeff.
Oh, there we go. All right. So what was that like? Did you see the share?
Nope.
Didn't see
Nope.
a share either.
Didn't see or hear.
I think I forgot to choose that option when I shared. I just shared. Yeah. There's a specific option to share to breakout rooms. All right, got it. Okay. Let let me reopen those and we'll do that again. Let me make sure my streamer doesn't leave though. Okay, here we go. Okay, share video, share sound, share to breakout rooms, share screen, shared. Your video and audio will not be shared. Your screen will be shared in the main session, and in that your video and audio will not be shared, but I said to do it. Let's see how that went. You're muted, David.
No, I know. I'm moaning and bitching because every time we go into breakout rooms, my second Zoom window goes full screen. And it's the most annoying thing in the world. And I can't figure out how to stop it.
So it's doing it when you go to the breakout room, having nothing to do with the timing of the share popping in.
No. So here's here's my set. So my workflow is I have 3 monitors here. 2 are small, and my main monitor is larger. And I always put my secondary Zoom window on one of the small monitors. So when you go into breakout room, it moves my secondary window to my main monitor and then fills the whole monitor. It is the most annoying thing in the world.
You have that checkbox turned off where it says enter full screen automatically when starting or joining a meeting?
I have that off.
Yeah.
So I've got usual monitors, enter full screen starting or joining a meeting is turned off. And then under share screen, I've got maintain current size. I mean, that's when I'm sharing, but it's just so annoying. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us.
Go to the general settings, not the share screen settings.
And you're on Mac, David?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
David, just curious, you said you have 3 monitors, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if Zoom is confused because you have 3, not 2. I know that sounds weird to say that, but let me say that like that.
Yeah, no, I because it's using, I'm in dual monitor mode, but I'm using 3 monitors. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it maybe the Zoom talking to the Mac and it's getting confused going, which dual?
Yeah. Maybe.
So you're saying when you go into the breakout room, your secondary Zoom window's on monitor 3?
Yeah, you could say
moving
that.
it to 2?
It's moving it to 1, actually.
Moving it to 1.
Right.
So
I
would say let's put that secondary Zoom window on monitor 2 and see. Well, I know you don't want to. I'm just saying, in trying to understand the logic that's not working.
No, I understand. Right. So this is my main monitor. I've got what do you call it? My main Zoom window up here, and then my secondary Zoom window down here. And these are both full screen, by the way. I have them both of my Zoom windows are full screen. We go into screen share, we go into breakout room. This monitor, this one, of course, it kind of blanks out and then it pops you into the breakout room. This one blanks out it jumps over here and then goes full screen. I didn't mean to derail us. We can go back to the music if you want, but it annoys the heck out of me.
Well, did you see the share that time in the breakout rooms?
Yes, and we could hear it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you could hear it. Okay.
Yeah, but audio and video is out of sync.
What?
It was?
Yep. I was watching the saxophone guy when he was taking breaths, and for one reason or another, the audio was still coming from the saxophone.
And it wasn't the saxophone player. We want to clear that up.
He plays that way
That's right.
intentionally.
That's right. That's right. I'm assuming that the recording was fine.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now just to double check this recording. Make sure it's all right. Yeah, it's good on the original, which would be tough because what can you do about that? You know, I'm sharing a VLC, or no, actually I'm using the built-in advanced video sharing tool in Zoom, and it just, point to the video file and away you go. So to be able to adjust
I can't
that.
remember if the audio was ahead or behind. I'm thinking it was ahead.
Yeah, commonly would be the case, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and those are things, pre-test, pre-run, for a real show, and one may decide that you want to do a second camera instead, and then that would be the test is to I have not done that with this kind of feature in mind. Is to share the
Just like David has a pet peeve, my biggest pet peeve that I've noticed recently is lip sync, and especially at live events, that you can tell that they decided to lip sync one camera but forgot the other four. Drives me nuts. And it's broadcast television that I was watching that on too.
That's tough, especially when it's really bad, like way off, and it just becomes distracting.
Being
It's like
a
an
musician,
overdubbed movie.
Yeah, exactly. Being a musician too, all of a sudden, when they go to the GoPro camera that's on the drum set, which is automatic by default delayed because of good old GoPro.
Oh yeah.
They think that it's a great idea to use GoPros on drummers, and we don't like them.
Yeah.
So the official answer there is, you always see him up in the air, but yet he hit the drum already. He's like,
yeah, for live, for sure. And GoPros, I've used them a lot to record bands, just to record and post edit, and it seems to be okay because the sound source is not coming from the GoPro. But
right.
But yeah, when you're hearing everything live in a concert and then they IMAG something from a GoPro, you're gonna have problems, that's for sure. So, all right. Hey, David, back to the release notes. You're muted.
I know I had to press the button. All right. So what do we got here? All right. So in any case, end of support for 32-bit iOS devices. Enhanced access to cloud recordings.
And that the key words there are in the middle of the description. Desktop client.
Yeah.
So more access to the cloud recordings from the desktop client. So we'll have to see what we'll be able to do from the client without having to go to zoom.us and log in and so forth. So that'll be interesting.
Let's back up to that first one, the end of 32-bit iOS. So older iPads are going to be stuck at 5.11.3, which if you've gone into your Zoom account and said, don't let people with old Zoom versions into my meeting, potentially you have a problem.
Yeah. Or, you don't have to be that explicit these days either with that version issue, because if you enable one of the new features that actually enforces the need to update, which it'll auto update when you're trying to log in, or at least prompt you to, you won't be able to get in either. And so it's kind of, it can be a bit unintentional, if you will, as a host, by turning on a new feature that's great, and then all of a sudden you're blocking out some older. Now, that's 5.11.3, and where is everybody right now? If I bring up my window real quick. Yeah,
I'm now 4.
5.11.4. So, I mean, that's a pretty, that's a pretty new version right now, right? When that change takes place, it won't be too awful painful, but 2, 3, 4 releases down the road that have some features that are attractive, that'll become a bigger issue. So.
Yeah. So check back around Christmas time. If you're having issues, that might be
yeah.
it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, good point. All right, so the enhanced cloud as well. We ended there, so go ahead, David, to the meeting webinar features.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys can feel free to do it. We got 25 custom
read some of these
languages.
out. So so support for up to 25 custom languages on Windows, Mac, Linux, and Android and iOS. So, and that's for interpretation. And I'm trying to remember, they said previously it was 5. Oh, I see what they're talking about. They're talking about custom, because they've had for quite a while now, like I think 9 preloaded languages. So languages that are available for everybody, if you will, English 2, and what's that list of the 2. And then you could actually, especially if you're an interpretation company, you could add custom entries as well, things that were not pre-populated inside of Zoom. That was the limit of 5. Now that can go up to 25, which is great, because they had a limit in the 20s. I don't remember. Robert Sababity, who owns the, I'm going to bluster the name, but Worldwide Interpreters, we hit a limit when he brought his folks in and so forth several months back. We hit a little bit of a limit that we couldn't
This is
get
Rabbi
past. David, mute. Or mute him, Ray. So that continues to grow. That's great. That'll require 11.2, which is in my world 2 versions back. Meeting features, broadcast mic audio to all breakout rooms. So that be the microphone itself, not just the share. Here, let me replace this share. Hang on.
Hey, David, you. Oh no.
Yeah, I replaced it with mine. Can you guys all see that? Okay. All right. Hang on a second. My view just got a little messed up. All right, I think we're okay there.
You could zoom a little closer.
Is that big enough? That work? Okay. Window management right now. All right. So multi-language for webinar as well, but the translated captions. So that is to be able to have captioning on, which I have captioning on. It's off on my screen, but I have captioning on in this meeting. So English 2 what language. That's the translated captions. And there's a little bit more to this as well. So webinar hosts can enable the translated captions to support the multiple languages, allowing attendees, so they just pick which language they want to see the captioning displayed in. And then additionally, the automated captions support additional languages in addition to, I think they might have thrown in the word like base language, or original language, like what's the base language that the host is using that needs to get translated to, something, a different language. But English being the only supported up to this point, but now that's going to expand as well. And then now the translated captions is only right now anyways. I don't know if this is going to change in time or not, but it requires a license that a lot of people aren't terribly familiar with, is the Zoom. It's a bit of a bundle concept, if you will, with phone and meeting and webinar, is the Zoom One Business Plus and Zoom One Enterprise Plus. If you don't have one of those two licenses, this paragraph is not applicable. All right, then whiteboard features. I'll talk through them, but I'm thinking David has done a bit more on this than I have, and so if you have things to add to this, like what was missing.
Why did I become the whiteboard guy?
I don't know. You jumped in a couple times.
I was excited about it.
I know
it has let me down.
Yeah, I understand, and it's and I think conceptually, history with Zoom is. It will probably, like many other, features that have a beginning that get us excited and then let us down, then eventually it rises back up and so forth in time. We'll see. So enhanced collaboration cursors says in meeting whiteboard users will see fewer collaboration cursors, which are cursors labeled with the name of the participants controlling them.
That makes me think of like when you're in a Google Doc, how sometimes you'll see the names
like who's in what cell or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. Inactive cursors will have a disappear time. It looks like users can also enable and disable viewing of those cursors as well. That works. Yeah, because they can be distracting. Additional shapes and enhanced shape creation. Yoo-hoo.
Oh, we already got these.
Octagons.
Oh, look at that. If you look at the note, previously these shapes could only be added through the out-of-meeting experience. So that's one of the things we discovered, right? That photos worked outside but not inside. Okay, so they're slowly now bringing parity to the two platforms, or the two ways to access dashboard, whiteboard.
So
shouldn't it be called darkboard?
I know, it's like whiteboard with dark mode. So the out of meeting whiteboard dashboard, which is the offline version, accessed by clicking the whiteboard tab, follows the client's light or dark theme. That's good. Yeah, I mean, even on this Zoom support page, like my exposure, my camera just blows me out because I'm full screen and there's just all this lighting that, hits my face right now. Although my desktop is dark grays intentionally, and my browser is a very dark themed browser as well, but the background of, a lot of web pages will still.
I presume this is what they're talking about. The whiteboard the whiteboard dashboard background page will be dark mode now. I presume.
Yeah, out of meeting, it says.
Right. So so I'm now on the web side of it, the web portal.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
I always like to distinguish between the classic whiteboard and the new enhanced whiteboard. Is this only referring to the new whiteboard?
Where does Classic come into play these days if you're upgraded?
We're still
on
using
versions?
Classic. We haven't enabled the new whiteboard.
Are you talking
meetings.
just in the back end portal? You choose
Yeah, as an
one or the
admin
other?
for our organization, we're not allowing
Yeah.
the new enhanced whiteboard yet because of
Gotcha.
some concerns about accessibility and a few other reasons. We've asked for some, we've put in some feature requests to
Yeah.
address our concerns.
Yeah.
Can you?
understandable.
Would you be comfortable sharing? I'm curious what the concerns are. Not in a critical way. It's
I have to be.
interesting.
I'm under NDA for certain things, so I don't know how
okay.
much I can say. But imagine people using screen readers and other kinds of people with different, let's say, vision issues or other things. How did my background is education. How do students make use of some of these tools if they become a very important part of the teaching plan for the day? And how does Zoom address that for people who are differently abled?
Thank you.
Thanks.
So then they've got some phone features. Do we have any Zoom phone users here? I'm not gonna focus on that then. Contact center. I think we've got everything that catches our attention. All right, so a pretty decent drop, and just for quick review is Google anytime Zoom release notes, and you get a whole listing of by dates and you used to see by platform, but I think they might have collapsed that, and we're going dates and product. So web, Zoom client, Zoom rooms and Zoom events are probably some of the hotter topics. But if you do it by dates, then you can see everything within that date, product wise. So, all right, that's that. That was the release notes. Then I also talked about covering recording. It seems to be a long-lived challenge in the sense, and I can't ever point a finger at anybody who has I would say most of the time it shows up with just disappointment, because it didn't meet what they expected. It didn't capture and record what they expected, which, the only thing I'd poke at somebody on that is, well, then you didn't test it. That's that. But beyond that, it hasn't always made a ton of sense in that sense. And there's a lot of variation in recording locally versus recording in the cloud as well, as far as the number of options and combinations and so forth. So it it certainly can be a little bit of a challenge. It definitely deserves time and practice in that sense. And I'm not going to claim to be an expert, but in time we've tested it here, gone through quite a bit of testing in here, into breakout rooms and back and moving hosts around and so forth to see the effect. Those are commonly the things. So, Ray?
How do you deliver the recording? If you recorded it locally, how do you deliver those recordings to your clients? Some of them can be massive files.
Yeah, I mean, you're at the mercy of having your own process, whether you're gonna upload that to YouTube, be it unlisted, private, or public, and go there because you're now the host of the data, and so Frank, you have other thoughts to add there?
Yeah, obviously this isn't for everyone. I'm part of a big educational organization, so I have access to things that average users may not. We have a media management system called Kaltura, And we've set up an integration so that all Zoom recordings go to each user's Kaltura account. Kaltura basically allows your recording to exist for at least 4 years, whereas in our Zoom cloud recording storage, we've capped it at 120 days, which isn't quite a whole semester. But because we're moving everything automatically to our media management system, that's how we do it. But I realize that would not be as easy for smaller businesses or individuals.
Any other thoughts on that? You got to deliver it, but you're not going to do it via email, right? Because it's too big. I mean, if I've got it hosted somewhere, then, even if I had it local, I believe if I send it via Gmail will say, hey, it's too big. We'll send a link, but it has to upload it to my Google Drive, but it does it seamlessly these days, in the sense that it doesn't take any extra knowledge on my part to make that happen. So, thing is where in Drive did it go? Those are the things I get concerned with, and so I like to be able to manage that, myself, and know where things are structurally, and with the policies wrapped around them for expiration and deletion and archiving and so forth. So but they can be large for sure.
And does your client ask you to delete once they confirm that they've got it, or how do you handle that?
Yeah, I haven't had any clients, make separate, demands or requests to, delete it. I do. I mean, it's my capacity. I don't want it, but so I'll normally, keep things on my storage device for about 30 days, and then that job's, come and gone. No one's come back within 4 weeks. It just goes away. I get to a point where I mentally go, I would not have a problem saying, no, I don't have that any longer. Because it was never, commonly it's not, it's not my responsibility. I never got paid to archive. I got paid to record. And so unless that was stated for long-term storage, then I could delete it a lot sooner. But
you're kind of 30 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
My workflow, Ray, is I'll take the files and I'll run them through software that's called Handbrake, which will squash it down a little bit more. And then instead of Google Drive, I'll use Dropbox and then put it through the transfer function of Dropbox. And they've got 7 days. There are receipts on there. I can see if they looked at it, pulled it down, or after 7 days, poof, it's gone, unless they've contacted me, needed more time, in which case then we're going to talk about storage fees.
Yeah.
I've just used that Dropbox recently and found that to be really, really slick. But I haven't put it through Handbrake. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I just did some on hand. Like I was just managing capacity of some big, I don't know, they were probably 20 gig, 18, 20 gig files, video files. And I pulled them down from Google Drive, put them in Handbrake. I just told it to do it H.264. That was it. No more tweaks than that. I think I did take it from 1080 to 720 as well, and then just let it rip through it. And man, I think they turned into on average about 3 gig from 18 gig. So makes a big difference. And when it's archived and you're looking back, and these were, some of these were my son's videos or the band and so forth. We just want them for history anyways, and made a significant difference. I mean, just multiple gigs that were saved, and then just re-uploaded them, and all was well. It'd be nice if I could right-click on a file like that and tell it what to do online. I wouldn't have to worry about it, but it doesn't work quite that slick. You have to pay for services that are made to provide that. But as far as recording, let's say we were in breakout rooms a little while ago. Sorry about banging my mic there. But you can't record breakout rooms just kind of naturally out of the box starting the meeting. And so if you're a co-host, you can. So I think here David and Ray have assigned to be co-host. While they were in a breakout room, they could have hit record for a local record. But if I, that the assumption could be that that you have to make somebody a co-host in order to do that, and the answer is not true. But still a little bit of a pain. If there were large numbers, if you had 50 breakout rooms, you'd have to assign recording privileges to 50 individual people, and that's a bit of a pain in the butt. But if I were to share my Zoom desktop in the participants window, if I wanted to give Jason the responsibility to record the breakout room he'll be in, I'd have to go to his options and allow to record local files. And so then he has the rights. Now, there's no outward indication here that I just did that. And unless I clicked on it again, and now it went from allow to remove that right. And so it's a benefit in the sense it's not a very scalable method of doing it, but it's beneficial in the sense that you don't have to give people too many permissions, such as co-host. Then they can manage your meeting, but just allow them to locally record. That doesn't burn your capacity. It doesn't mess with the cloud recording or anything like that. So the results are good that way. Anybody leverage recording tips, tricks? All right. Then the other big topic is what are you going to get, and this really applies to local and cloud. And really streaming too, in a sense, because are they in parity as far as results? Between like last week when we tested the live streaming direct from Zoom, I got to witness that there's been a lot of improvements. I mean, the one that really kind of blew me away last week that made it to the stream was the immersive view. And I thought, wow, that didn't used to happen. Multi-spotlighting didn't used to happen. It was a vast improvement. It pretty much matched, what we experienced in the meeting itself via the client, but has some default behavior. It doesn't show non-video users. By default, you can't. I don't think you can even make it do it on the stream itself, which keeps things clean. But anyways, on local recording, it's really the deal is what's the source, who's the source, what's the source, what computer and who is the source of what gets recorded and captured. And knowing that, being aware of that, making those who you're giving responsibility for recording, if you're the host and you're really the host and you want to make sure this gets recorded and streamed, but it's a large meeting, you're going to be busy, you have now delegation going on, so others are in the meeting, and so Frank, I say, hey, can you do and manage the spotlighting today? Ray, can you manage Ray's always on top of the waiting room, just delegating things out. Frank sits there and manages the meeting the whole time because he's a co-host, and makes all that happen, but his habits may be that, hey, while I do this, I'm going to do this and that, and a little bit of side work or whatever. And fact is the the assumption is that what's on my screen or whatnot, what's getting spotlit is what gets all recorded. Fact is things can, if you're bouncing around, and because you can go to the gallery while somebody's spotlit, even if you're the one who's doing it, right? You can still have spotlit individuals while you then switch back to gallery mode. But if you're the host who is the source of the recording, the host's primary console, then knowing that you have that flexibility visually, you also have to know that you're the source of the recording. And the question is does that change things? And the answer is it can. It absolutely can. And then the next thought commonly is, what if I hand host over? Well, to know that the host is the source of the recording on what's on their console and all, I would make Frank the host, because I've asked him to manage the spotlighting and so forth, so that his screen is the master of the cloud recording. So, anyways, I can't necessarily go practice the cloud side while we're in meeting, because those won't render until our meeting has completed. But the local stuff, we could test results inside of the breakout rooms. I can give you rights to record. I did that earlier with give somebody, I don't remember who it was now. I think it's Jesse or Jason, and he could record locally right now, and gave him those rights. And you can get those to render. But Jason, you have your hand up.
Cool. Thank you, Ray. So I was doing a local recording, and if you saw my name in the participant panel, there was a small little icon different from the cloud icon. Yep. And Ray as co-host, I asked as co-host if he could remove local privilege, which yes, he can, and he did. And as soon as he did that, my local recording stopped, which answered the other question that I had.
Will it kill it? Yeah.
And it did.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, Ray or David, who are co-hosts, can you grant recording privileges as well as remove?
Host allows you to record this meeting. Pop-up just came up on the screen, and I've started local recording again. And if I lower my hand, then in the participant panel, it becomes super obvious. There's a little red bullseye next to my name.
Yep.
It's small, but it's there.
Yeah, it is there. Yeah, it's indicative of it. That reminds me, I was going to say something about it, but didn't. When you guys were in breakout rooms earlier and we were sharing the video with audio, it's fairly new, but not brand spanking new. But if you have the breakout room manager window open, you can see where everybody is, right? You can manage them, you can move them around and so forth. But there's also, much like in the participants window, the video icon, the microphone icon. I could see everybody's microphone icon bouncing from my end. So I knew you were receiving the audio that time because I did it right, but it was a little bit new of a visual reference for me to actually go, oh yeah, I can monitor that for success as well. So, and as a matter of fact, you heard me stop the audio at one point, although the video was still there. That was me kind of testing. Now, I will say I don't feel like the audio level reference like stopped and went flat because I muted the video and then brought it back. But at least when it was live, like when I launched it, I could tell that it was there. So I don't know if it would eventually settle down or not. So
I think it's monitoring chatter in the break room. So if we had our mics open and we were talking,
Oh, yeah.
that was what you
Yeah.
were seeing.
Yeah. So the test is, the test would be, you know, hey, everybody, go to your breakout rooms, but remain muted, right? And then I'll do a share with audio, and I'll take a few seconds to start that so I can see quiet mics, and then I'll start it, see if I get bouncing mics, then I'll mute it while it's still playing. See, you know, I'd like to know how, you know,
I suspect
like
you wouldn't see
truly
anything.
dynamic.
I think it would stay on the muted microphone icon. I think they're just mirroring the participants panel that's available in the main room, you know, as the breakout room now.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. I don't recall whether I was looking at muted mics moving or everybody was unmuted. I saw a lot of indicators though, so it'd be a test. But anyways, that's that. So on the local record, Jason, why don't, well, I don't think we can do, we can't do both. I can't local record and cloud record at the same time. When you did a local record in the meeting, not in a breakout room of the meeting, did you go back and review what it recorded?
Not yet, because
as you pin and unpin, or maybe I spotlight or multi spotlight, and which would override your pin, and then if you have multiple monitors, does it matter which monitor your Zoom primary Zoom client window is on? Or is it just about the application, not about the physical monitor? And then there's the other piece, which is, are you in Zoom's dual monitor mode or not as well? And if you're in dual monitor mode, is it recording the second Zoom window or the primary Zoom window? That I am pretty sure I know the answer, which is the primary Zoom window, but at the same time, things change, and that's old data to me. So, all things worth thinking about and trying out and so forth. So,
Usually
if anybody else wants local record privileges, just let me know. I'll hand them out without hesitation, so you can test this while we're in meeting if you desire. Jason, I kind of stomped on you there. Sorry.
That's all right. Usually when I do local recording, it's on, another computer with just one monitor. And so whatever's on that monitor, I have confidence that that's what's going to be on the local recording.
That's what you're going to get. Yeah.
And as to your last question, when you're running two monitors, and if you have Zoom in dual monitor mode, which I have that set up on this machine that I just recorded on, so I won't be able to look at those recordings until I leave the meeting, because it's kind of held like in a temp folder. And then when I leave the meeting, that's when it actually makes the MP4s for me to look at. But I seem to recall in the settings, when you check dual monitor mode, there's also something along the lines of record someone's shared screen. And in this case, I've pinned the shared screen to monitor 2, and I've pinned Jeff's webcam to monitor 1. And so when I look at the recordings, am I only going to get the shared screen? Am I going to get both screens, or am I only going to get webcam on monitor 1? We'll find out.
Yeah. That I'm trying to look at if any options have changed. Show the sharing options. I share my screen in meetings. Silence the notifications while you're sharing. You guys have that checked? I don't have that checked. I'm surprised. Silence system notifications when sharing your desktop. It's a checkbox. I don't know if that's new or something that just really hasn't jumped out at me. But that's a helpful one, which is really based on when you share versus not, which is, I think, okay. The other quick and easy is out on the main toolbar, and chat pop-up bubbles can be a real pain in the ass, especially in big meetings. I mean, I was hosting this
and on local recordings.
meeting for big time, for this author, and we had like 900 plus people in the meeting, and then it just turned into a bit of a nightmare of people chatting to me and the other co-host about, hey, how do you turn these stupid chat pop-ups off, and they hated it. It was so distracting, and next to the chat bubble in the toolbar now, it looks so simple and innocent. There's just a little up caret that says show chat previews, but if you just click on that and uncheck it, it will stop doing it. It never used to do that. Like, our advice was open the chat window and like pull it off the screen, or put it on another monitor. But the window had to be opened because the trigger was not having the chat window open is what caused the bubbles. Now they have this mute option, and it makes it really straightforward, which is super helpful. So that, I turned my chat off. Sorry about that. I don't know if anybody's writing me or not. All right. So Pete says he has a question or comment on recording. What you got, Pete?
All right. Can you hear me? Here we go. All right. So let me give you some history. I have the free Zoom account. In October of 2020, I purchased a higher level so I could do some online events, recorded stuff on the Zoom server, downloaded that stuff for my purposes, and then reverted my account back to a free account at the end of that month because that work was done. Come forward to October last year, I did the same thing again. And when I got into the higher level Zoom account, those recordings are still there. And even though when I went to the free level in October 2020, I didn't see them anymore. Yeah. So do they hold on to these things even though,
I don't have like this authoritative response, but I have had the experiences of they hold on to a ton. Like if your account is an additional, user account within a Zoom domain, if you will. And so there's a master account and then there's multiple users, like in a company structure, then under your account, you can create the recordings and you can delete recordings and so forth. But if you delete them, you have a certain amount of time where there's going to be an undelete folder. And so, but if you miss that undelete folder, I haven't seen a case that you can't. You can go to the master account owner and have them go find it. One, you can go to the trash for a little while. I think it goes from the delete to its expiration, from its expiration to the trash can, and then ultimately. But and that's the same thing with like meeting schedules as well. You can actually recover for a certain given time. Deleted meeting schedules too, but then you can work your way up to that admin, and I'm guessing, but I have no experience with that, is if I was the account admin, can I call Zoom tech support and actually have them recover something that even got beyond me? I don't know what the answer is to that. My guess would be there's probably going to be a certain amount of time that the answer might be yes, and that they could recover that as well. But if anybody knows, pipe in. If not, my experience has been pretty hard to get rid of data for real. It's a lot of the features that are like delete are more about turning the visibility off, knowing that the need to recover is there. So be pretty interesting.
When you get into an enterprise level account or higher, is there settings around retention policy? I'm thinking like legal documents, when legal or HR comes in and you're only supposed to keep emails for a certain period of time and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Is there a way to tell Zoom, hey, in our company, this is our retention policy?
There's retention. It's not going to, I don't believe it gets down to category, type of, just, it's all recordings, but let me take a peek real quick. I can't share this because this isn't my account, but I do have access to it, and it's an enterprise account. All right, so let's take a look. I'm looking at.
And it may also depend on if you have a HIPAA account or not with Zoom. The Health Information Patient Privacy Act of whatever year it was in the United States.
Yeah. So I'm under so this is an enterprise account that I'm under the admin account management and seeing our options. So, whoops. Recording management. Okay. So I can, so in the recording management, I've got the storage on an enterprise account is unlimited. I've got quick access to, so I get an alert every week, at least once, of I have recordings that are going to be deleted because of a retention policy. I can see from this admin recording management screen, I'm almost all of them, the Zoom Test Kitchen recordings that have been deleted. And these are deleted meeting recordings category versus deleted recording files, which I'm assuming come from being uploaded and locally recorded. So I have access as the admin. I could call, if I didn't have access to it, I could call Guy and say, hey, could I get that one back? I don't use them very much anymore, hardly ever, because of the stream and YouTube and so forth. If I go back here as well, there's a document here, managing and sharing prerequisites. How to access.
We can't see that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm just seeing if there's something that's going to say, here's what I'm looking at here. Let me put this in chat. Everyone. Okay, that's the document in chat that I'm looking at. I'm just doing kind of a quick deal here to see if there's a specific section around like retention policies or.
So, Pete, the short answer is if you don't want those recordings to live, next time you bump up your account, go in there, delete them, go into the trash, permanently delete them, whatever that means, and then supposedly they won't appear again.
Okay, thanks.
Until you do that, or if you hit your storage limit, then they'll be there.
Okay. I was under the aspect that they were going to delete them after I was done in 2020. So
I think their deal is I mean, I think they'd have the right to say, well, that's our policy, not yours. It's not for public knowledge, right? So as long as they've given us, the user of either a free account or, let's say, a paid account, you upgraded, right? So you turned your free into a paid. It was a nice surprise, maybe, that you saw those recordings again. But to then say, well, what if I delete these and don't come out? How long do you guys keep them? I don't know that they necessarily would or even owe us their retention policies, rules, parameters. But so under recording management, it's all about, in this admin console, it's all about I could take an individual recording that, let's say, is close to expiring. I have a 3 dots option here to either delete it right now or move the location. There's one that's going to expire in 120 days. That's today's. That's the one that's being recorded right now. I can disable the auto delete, and it will then escape the policy. I believe that under users or group management, take a look here under group management, that under recording is where the policy is going to be applied per group, per individual, or per group. See the chat, delete. I'm not going to keep on this too much longer, but I've seen where this is a 120-day policy as well. I've seen that. I just, at the very moment, I'm not seeing it pop out at me at a quick scan anyways. But anyways, certainly there are a lot of data sticks around, I think, for a long time. All right. Topically, I see Josh has joined. He might just be in listen mode, but hello, Josh. Any other particular topics? Or I'm going to get polls, especially the advanced polls that we had gone over when they first came out, but logged in from another device. Your polling session is inactive. That's interesting. Don't know what that is. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Yeah, I'm logged in from my iPad, and I think that's why. Under the same account. Didn't know that was going to be a consequence. Let's see if that changes things. Not immediately, anyways. But so coming up in probably the next couple of weeks, we'll spend some time on polls and advanced polls, and then we'll take a look at the reports of those polls. The advanced polls I thought were quite well done. A lot of flexibility. Not as much as I would say Slido. Slido is really, I'd say, quite advanced in that sense of polls, get it right, get it wrong, have a winner, have the top 5 winners. I mean, it does a lot, and it's pretty straightforward to use too. It's not terribly complex, but super useful for some really good interactive, activity and meetings. These polls are somewhat there, but you can now have right and wrong answers, and so I think a natural default to that as well. I'm going to build these questions, have the answers, tell Zoom polling which ones are the correct answers, and then be able to print out a report of who did what. You're not going to get it. I'll say, when we tested it, you could not produce that report of, what they got right, what they got wrong, and so forth. And so, whether that was, a privacy policy issue that they decided on, or they just hadn't gotten there yet on that report, I don't know. But it certainly kind of busted the whole notion of, going through all that building up and defining correct answers and all that, to then not be able to reflect back on it or certify people, have something that's recorded and certifiable and provable and the whole bit. So it was one of those, a little bit of a letdown, but at the same time, I always try to be patient and see, if that's something that's going to find its way, into a report or not, since reports are almost always the last thing that are developed after, features are released. So I'll get that on the list. We'll go through polls, which is some good interactive stuff. If others want to come with other things, tools, software, methods of creating interactivity, certainly feel free to come prepared with that as well. So outside of that, it's feeling like we may be ready for the weekend, and call it one of the shorter Zoom test kitchens at an hour and a half, with our record being 5 hours and 20 minutes. And so it's not going to be one of those, but needless to say, I think, for several of us anyways, with the live events, obviously back on the rise, and people wanting to get back. The question is it going to stay that way, or is that more of an excitement of getting back together because we were, separated for so long? Once we get that fixed, then the, organizations are going to come down and say, hey, let's change the way we're doing things, and, get more virtual involved because of cost, the width of the audience, no boundaries and barriers there. It's hard to tell exactly. But the combination right now is commonly, I say we're seeing cameras put on the back wall, and we're just, kind of throwing out there what's being done in the room full of people. But then there's some organizations who really do put a true effort into the virtual side. I could imagine that, an in-person event, which is, they get that keynote, which is a broadcast, for the remote audience. But then they go, everybody comes to a conference, if you will, if it's a conference, with their built schedule of which breakouts they're going to go to and so forth. There's sessions, and whether they, make those sessions available, or whether they have some dedicated sessions to virtual only, so there's better focus and attention, hard to call. And I think there's probably flexibility in there with, who the vendor or customer or company is, and what their objective is. So anyways, just some thoughts as things continue to evolve. So any other thoughts, comments, ideas, shares? If not, have a great weekend. Always good to get together and hammer things out a little bit. Ray,
great to be. It's great. I just want to say
back. Thanks for hosting again. We can never tell what's going to happen at a Zoom test kitchen, and there's always something to take from.
I appreciate that. You've supported me for a long time. It's kind of sitting there quietly learning a lot, and you've been adminning and managing, helping me manage, people coming and going, and having to give a few a boot, and so forth. So I appreciate that support. David is not at his desk at the moment, but he's been super helpful. He's even co-hosted, and Ray's co-hosted, and am I missing anybody else that's here? And Josh is not on camera, but he's co-hosted. So, I can't get them all. Hello, Josh. So, if you have an interest and can afford to do that, let me know. I just have a group of 6 or 7. I think 6 or 7 is the number in the Discord that I just kind of splatter out a note and let them know, hey, I'm not going to be able to be there. Is there somebody in a small group that has the time and desire to host the kitchen? So if you want to ever feel like you want to join that group and have that opportunity, certainly let me know. Be happy to include you.
I see her winding down there, Jeff. I have a quick one if you don't mind.
Yep.
Question is about enforcing mute in breakout rooms. Someone had just talked about implementing that in the breakout rooms, and I'm wondering if that was one of the extra OSC features or if that's something native Zoom can do.
I don't think it's native as far as it hasn't been native up to this point. So I'm not sure. I mean, I know when we come back from breakout rooms, we all come back muted to the main session, but and that's no matter what our settings are. I believe no matter what our settings are coming into the meeting, that even if you allow people to come in unmuted, coming from a breakout room, simply the rule is you're going to come back muted. Forcing the mute in going to a breakout room, I've always felt like when I come from a main session even muted and join a breakout room, I'm unmuted. And I'm not aware of a change, but that's not to say that some type of change, or maybe the API for Zoom OSC has enabled something. But
okay, in this instance, I think it was something where they could send participants into the room and then control their camera and microphone settings on their way over there.
Well, while they're in there or on their way in there? So are you saying set upon entry, or once they're there, then you can control them?
That's a good question. I think maybe it was setting them ahead of time and then sending them to the breakout room, to which I would assume they would be enforced.
Yeah.
Because currently there's no mute button in breakout rooms. I mean, remove microphone access for participants in the breakout room.
Nothing at all for anyone? That's unusual.
Yeah. So you're saying if somebody is is a disturbance?
The scenario was that you would have a particular breakout room that you wanted to be maybe watching only and not participating. So sending participants there that would guarantee that everyone you send there is just observing and not on their mic or camera.
Yeah, a viewing room, a quiet room. I get that need, but I don't know. I mean, there's the API's been opening up a bit for Zoom OSC, but in breakout rooms are one of those additions. But how much control? Is it opening up enough to where if we had Isadora, for instance, it could, feel the entry of somebody new and mute them, feel the entry and mute them, and so it's not a one push mute all, but upon entry, it manages that. Be interesting to see if that would be accomplishable. Very good. Frank, you've asked in chat about a Discord link. Josh, I think you're even the one who did this. So I sent out a post about needing a host way back to, I don't know, 4 or 5 people. And I think it was Josh who turned it into a group chat in Discord. So if I'm wrong, that's quite possible. But I'm trying to see, is there, I know
Guilty.
I can add friends, but it doesn't look like I have a way to send out.
You can add people that have accepted your friend request into private Discord. But if you don't, someone else that has them as a friend can invite them.
No rush. Maybe next time.
Well, Frank, are you on After Hours Discord?
I'm on office hours.
Or office hours.
I'm on office hours, yeah.
Okay. Let me. I'll find you and friend
great.
you.
Thanks.
And when I get that, then
Appreciate
I
it,
will
but no rush.
add you to this group as well.
Yeah.
Well, the only need for the rush is if I don't do it while it's on my mind, I won't ever come back to it.
I hear that. I hear that.
It's tough. All right, you all. Well, I will close out the Zoom Test Kitchen for today. Always a pleasure hanging with you and learning things, figure things out. But enjoy your weekend, and look forward to seeing you next week if your time provides.
Thanks, Jeff. It's always a pleasure to come back.
Bye, everybody.